Welcome to the Technology Inspiration Playlist. These short segments were originally presented live by the RECIT for vocational training during the Voc Talk Café, an informal weekly online professional development gathering for VT educators in Quebec. Each video explores a pedagogical strategy enhanced by a digital tool, offering practical ideas that can be applied across various programs. In just a few minutes, these insights aim to inspire creativity and support innovative teaching practices.
As VT educators, we have very good reasons not to use artificial intelligence. We can be intimidated before we get started. When we try for the first times, we can get results that are either inadequate, too large, or too complex for our needs. We don't really have the time to experiment and test our skills or develop our skills with it. And I think our main concern is that artificial intelligence might not interpret our requests correctly, and we get something that is totally off, separate from what we're actually looking for. So today, my suggestion is going to be to start small, to use AI on tasks that allow us to keep the control, and specifically use AI for stuff that it's good at. It's analyzing language. The tool I'm proposing is to use a notebook LM. It can be many other, about every generative artificial intelligence large language model can do this kind of task, which is to start with a good document that we created that we think is good and have the AI proofread it for us. I'm not talking about generating a new document starting from notes, but really like, I've done my job. I want to make sure that it's the best that can be sent out before I send it out to students, before I put it on the learning management system or whatever usage we're going to do. The example that I use is the draft of the content of the RÉCIT vocational training newsletter. And we build that draft in a Google document. And Google LM, Notebook LM is a Google product. So it applies the Gemini large language model to sources that we decide as the users. So I use the draft of our newsletter, but for our teacher, it could be a bunch of lesson plans, the program of study, the standards procedures of the center they work at. They have, there are many possibilities there. The AI comes with all sorts of integrated generative functions. This is not what I'm going to talk about today, but I want to mention them anyway. It can generate automatic summary. It can convert, it can create audio conversation about the topics covered in the documents, create study guide, frequently asked questions, do a briefing on the document and stuff. But let's stick to our idea to keep the task simple and something that we have control over, which was proofreading a document. So since we make that draft, as I said, in Google Doc, that's the feature that I used. I added the link to the Google Drive where the document is. But it could be a PDF, a text file, even an audio file, a YouTube video, a website, or text that I would paste in it. And then that's the first step. The second step, it would be to simply write a prompt asking to proofread the text in the source and suggest changes to the wording, syntax, grammar, spelling, and etc. And what I got is 11 suggestions of changes to make to the text. You have one example on screen. To give more flow to the sentence, start by RÉCIT fulfills its mandate. My original sentence had quite a wonky structure where it was a how, who, does what, kind of difficult to understand. The structure that the artificial intelligence proposes is who does what, how, which is easier to directly understand. A few tips and thoughts. No matter what method we use, I think it has nothing to do with technology, but before we distribute any type of document, always make it proofread because our own eyes don't usually see the mistakes that we made while we built a document. We had a good example of that in today's invitation to the Voc Talk Café that had a silly mistake in it, but that I didn't see before sending it. And it also comes with the usual responsible usage of artificial intelligence warnings or guidelines, if you prefer. Yeah, we have to protect confidentiality and data. We never put students' codes or attendance record in there. We have to expect hallucinations, bias, and inaccurate content because AI is still in that phase. Remember that those businesses are privately owned, so they're not there for the good of the humankind, but the profit of the company that built them. And we have to remember the limits that AI has. It's not really, it's called intelligence, but it's not really intelligent. It's just a language model that tries to interpret what is likely to be used.